Unit 5 Sports. Part 1 Listening.
Long conversations. Conversation 1. Faye, have you decided to stay in Beijing?
Yes, I have. Shanghai is exciting, but Beijing is still home.
That's a good idea. I think I'll stay here for a while myself, at least until the Summer Olympics in 2008.
Oh, really? Do you plan to go see the games while you're here?
Sure. The Olympics are very exciting. I had fun when I went to previous Olympics.
What? You mean you've been to the Olympics before?
Yes, I spent a few days in Atlanta in 1996, and I saw the Winter Olympics in Nagano, Japan in 1998 too. You can see so many different people, hear different languages, do all kinds of things. You can even see some sports if you really want to.
Wow. So did you see many events?
Actually, I didn't see so many. Believe it or not, it's better to watch the sports events at home. Unless you can get good seats, watching in person isn't nearly as good.
Sounds very disappointing. Why should anyone go to see the Olympics?
It's not disappointing at all. The atmosphere is what makes it all worthwhile. Also, I got into collecting and trading Olympic pins when I was there. You can trade pins with people from all over the world. I now have pins from more than 20 different countries.
Did you meet any athletes?
Yes, I met some of the Chinese women ice hockey players in Japan. They gave me this China pin in exchange for an American pin.
I think I'd like to have a Beijing 2008 Olympic pin.
Well, Faye, I just happen to have one right here. What do you have to trade for it? Write no more than 3 words to answer the following questions.
Conversation 2. The 2020 Olympics might seem a long way away to you, but people are already talking about what new sports might be included. Today, I'm going to talk to Johnny Mills, who hopes his sport might be included. Johnny, can you tell us what wakeboarding is? Is it like surfboarding?
Well, a bit. It started in California because people wanted to surf but didn't have waves. It's also a bit like water skiing in that the rider is towed behind a specifically built speedboat,
How fast does that boat go?
usually at about 25 miles per hour. The rider uses the wave the board produces in the water to launch into the air.
And then you do a lot of complicated things in the air?
That's right, spins of up to 1260 degrees, things like that.
1260 degrees? That's impossible, isn't it?
Oh no, but it's pretty crazy. You spin around 3.5 times in the air.
And then you have to land again without falling over?
You'll have to watch some wakeboarding if you haven't seen any. Come to Wakestock in July if you can.
That's in Wales, isn't it?
Yep, it's a really popular wakeboarding and music festival. It's not quite the same as California, but it's cool. It attracts a lot of great riders.
Who does wakeboarding?
Most are guys in their teens or 20s, but there are increasing numbers of girls too. There's a lot of crossover with other board sports like surfing and skateboarding. The tricks people pull are similar, and the names for things are often the same.
And looking at you, I'd say the fashion was similar too.
Yeah, the clothes and the lifestyle are similar.
Complete the following sentences by using the exact words you have heard from the conversation or your own words.
Passages. Passage 1. Perhaps no other sport is as deeply rooted in American life as baseball. None has created so many popular traditions. These include poems, songs, books, and movies. Famous players of the past and present are as well known to Americans as the country's great scientists, writers, and political leaders. Baseball words have even become a part of the language. For example, Americans may admit to striking out when failing at something. Part of the reason Americans love baseball is that they have been playing it for more than 150 years. No one knows for sure when the modern game began. Many people believe it developed from a game called rounders that was played in the 1800s. Some people believe that a man named Abner Doubleday invented the game of baseball in Cooperstown in 1835. Doubleday and his friends used to chase cows out of a field so they could play a game called town ball. Town ball involved 20 to 50 boys. The boys attempted to catch a ball hit by a tosser who used a flat piece of wood. One day, the story goes, Abner Doubleday made changes to the game of town ball. He reduced the number of players. He added a pitcher who threw the ball and a catcher who caught it. He used a stick to draw a square-shaped area in the dirt. He also added bases for the batter to run around after he hit the ball. The new game was called baseball. Others say it was Alexander Cartwright in 1845. He developed a list of rules and formed the first baseball team, the New York Knickerbockers. Today, Americans of all ages play baseball. Thousands of teams are organized across the country. School teams, company teams, and teams supported by religious groups. And millions of Americans attend professional baseball games and watch them on television. More than 350,000 people travel each year to the Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York. The Hall of Fame explains the history of baseball. It also honors great players of the past and present. This year, the museum has put together a traveling show called Baseball as America. The show includes more than 500 baseball objects. It explores the relationship between the game of baseball and American culture.
Choose the best answer from the 4 choices marked A, B, C, and D to answer the question you have heard. Question number 1. What does striking out mean? Question number 2. According to the passage, which of the following is a sport that is most deeply rooted in American life? Question number 3. Which of the following statements is true according to the passage? Question number 4. How many people took part in the game of town ball in 1835? Question number 5. According to the passage, what did a tosser use to hit a town ball? Passage 2. While walking can be as simple as putting one foot in front of the other, these specific tweaks to your walking routine can make your daily stroll an even more effective mood booster and disease fighter. 1. Stroll outside with friends. A British study of nearly 2,000 adults found that those who had recently endured a major life stressor, job loss, divorce, the death of a loved one, experienced a significant mood boost after they took a walk outside with others. 2. Bring your pooch. In a University of Missouri study, people who walked with the dog increased their walking speed by 28% over a 12-week period, while those who walked with a friend or spouse only increased their pace by 4%. People tend to complain or talk each other out of workout, while dogs are always up for a stroll. 3. Add a spring to your step. Your gait can impact your mood, according to Canadian research. Hunched over people remembered far more negative words than those who had a happier pace. Skipping your way down the street may help trick your body into feeling more happy and energetic. Don't miss these other natural energy boosters. 4. Walk for 15 minutes to quell a sugar craving. People who walked before doing an office assignment snagged on half the amount of chocolate as people who didn't get any exercise beforehand, according to a study in the journal Appetite. 5. Walk after every meal to steady your blood sugar. A quick post-meal walk helps clear sugar from the blood, preventing spikes that can take a toll on people with diabetes or who are at risk of developing it, according to a 2013 study in diabetes care. These lifestyle habits can also help you achieve healthier blood sugar levels. 6. Put your phone away. more than 1,500 pedestrians were estimated to be treated in hospital emergency rooms in 2010 for injuries related to using a cell phone while walking, a number that's more than doubled since 2005. Tempted to text or sneak a peek at your email? Just don't. 7. Use a tracker for motivation. In a 2013 study from Indiana University, adults who wore a pedometer for 12 weeks reduced their average sitting time from 4 hours a day to 3.3. They also lost about 2.5 pounds each.
Complete the outline below. Write no more than 3 words for each blank. Lecture. Should professional female athletes be paid the same as their male counterparts? It's a question that produces emotion, heated debate, and a glaringly large glimpse into Pandora's box. Novak Djokovic claimed male tennis players should earn more because men's matches would get more spectators. Women's bodies, he noted, are much different from men's bodies. They have to go through a lot of different things that we don't have to go through. You know, the hormones and different stuff. After a public protest, he apologized for his comments. Here, I'd like to approach the question of women, pay, and sport from the perspective of exercise science. Are female and male athletes physically different? You don't need a PhD to answer that one. But how does this affect performance in sport? The biggest discrepancy in muscle distribution between a female and a male body is that, by and large, women have less muscle in the upper body compared to men. The difference can be as large as 30% in healthy individuals. When applied to sport, the impact is clear. Let's compare the world record for a sport such as the javelin to that of the 100-meter sprint. The difference between the distance the javelin has been thrown in the men's and women's world records is around 30%. The time difference between male and female athletes in the 100-meter sprint is about 10%. In sports such as javelin, tennis, golf, or cricket, female athletes are substantially less strong and powerful in the upper body compared to their male counterparts. For any given task in these sports, women have to work harder. To drive a golf ball 200 meters, for instance, a woman would need to use 80 to 90% of her maximum force, whereas a man might draw upon 60%. Okay, we get the biomechanics. How about physiology? Men have larger hearts, though some might argue the contrary. Greater blood volume, more red blood cells, greater lung capacity, and are, on average, taller and larger than women. The gap does narrow in athletic populations. But in terms of sports performance, this means that for any given athletic task, such as running 100 meters in 11 seconds, a woman athlete would be using almost 100% of her potential, whereas a male athlete might use 90% of his potential to complete the goal. There are exceptions, such as long-distance swimming. Many women outswim men as a woman's greater fat mass allows better buoyancy and, as such, more efficiency through the water. However, in endurance and ultra-endurance land-based events, a male athlete's greater physiological potential has the upper hand. Another glaringly large difference between the sexes is the effect athletic training has on male and female bodies. Because of the difference in sex hormones, male athletes have a greater response to training stimuli, such as weight training and strength and conditioning, compared to female athletes. Male muscle tends to grow larger and stronger than female muscle, given comparable training regimes. This again points to differences in athletic potential. How about injury? Statistics show, in non-contact sports, because of a wider pelvis, thus more knee injuries, and smaller muscle mass in the upper body, thus more shoulder injuries, female athletes suffer more knee and shoulder injuries compared to males. So, for any given exposure to training or competition, female athletes are more at risk of injury. Needless to say, this would have terrible impact on the earning potential of the individual. And here's a curveball for you. Females suffer more than 2 times more injuries in car accidents compared to males. Considering athletes spend time commuting to training and competition, female athletes are at 200% greater risk of injuring their neck if even a minor car accident happens. As a scientist, I deal with biomechanical and physiological facts, and these say female athletes work hard, if not harder than their male counterparts, to achieve an absolute target, especially in such sports as tennis and cricket. Should they be remunerated equally? I think they should, but I'll let the facts do the talking.
1. Choose the best answer from the 4 choices marked A, B, C, and D to answer the question you have heard. Question number 1. What does Pandora box mean? Question number 2. According to the lecture, in which sports are female athletes more likely to perform better than their male counterparts? Question number 3. Why are females more likely to get injured in a car accident? Two. Use your notes to decide if the statements below are true or false. Write T for true or F for false. Correct the false statements. 3. Fill in the blanks to complete the notes according to the information you have heard.